I'm Jim, one of the salesmen here at Port City Race Cars. Today I'd like to show you our latest super late model build. This is a complete turnkey car we just finished. We're going to take it to the track and test tomorrow with the customer. And I'd like to show you around the car and show you some of the different features that we do. This has the 5-star next-gen body on it. This particular one is a Mustang nose. It's a Ford drivetrain, Chevy, Ford, Toyota they offer. A lot of quality pieces that come with it: hood pin bars, hood hinges, window braces, things that make your installation easier, valances, grille screens in colored black or plain. Depending on your paint scheme, it matches a little bit better. We do our brake duct system a little different. We run a very small one over here. As you can see, it's different on the other side. It just keeps more air that way. Most of them you tape off a lot of it anyway. They offer a lightweight roof and hood package. If you have an old traditional style body, ABC body, you may not have this, but if you look, you can see a split down the roof here. So this greenhouse type of a body, all you have to do is line that flange up. It gives you dimples and all the male, female to line. And then also along here, the quarter panel has a flange, a 90-degree flange to match the roof piece here. Again, clamp, keep it flat, and when you go to put your templates on, it lines right up. If you don't skew this at all, you're just about perfect every time. We put cam locks in our left rear windows very often so we can get in and work on the seat, work on the driver air conditioner, that type of thing. 5-star even has a window bolt kit, so if you don't like to pop rivet it, sometimes you split and kind of spider crack it. They have a very nice bolt kit that comes with them. Spoilers in quite a few different degree varieties. We use the 90-degree spoiler, very heavily braced inside and outside to make the spoiler as effective as possible. All the bodies that we mount, we run the referee over them, which you were going to use at your local short track. Templates, that way when you go through tech the first time, we know that it's done right, that you should not have any issues. We've had a lot of people ask about colored rivets. The owner here is very particular on bodies. It was something he always enjoyed doing. The mill finish rivets, it makes our installers always have a dead straight line, spacing them all exactly correct. If you use a colored rivet, you can kind of fudge that around a little bit, but most guys wrap cars and things like that anyway, but when it leaves here, we want people to be able to see the quality and attention to detail that we put into things. Even little things like that, I think separates us from some of the other people that maybe rush some of these projects together, but we have a lot of pride in craftsmanship and some very highly skilled people here, and hope you enjoy their work. All our interior sheet metals kits are done on a jig. So when the chassis gets bolted down, we have a fixture that goes all the way around the perimeter of it so that our body guys knows where the doors and quarters and all lay. Even if we sell a chassis without a body on it, the person can take the flanges that 5-star provides. 5-star, for example, this piece here is part of the cowl, so we put a 90-degree lip on this. All you do is sandwich that together. There's another one of those in the back. If you line that up front to back, it pretty much locates where your greenhouse and all is going to be. We'll do this on the greenhouse body or the traditional. Huge time saver for a lot of customers. Fit and finish. Our guys are as good as anything that you would see out there. The way the bead rolls are, the notching around the tubing, just the whole design of it. A lot of people, when they look inside a car, you want them to be able to see the difference from just something more of a generic build to what I think that we have to offer. On safety items, we try to let the customer have their preferences on that for sure. Just something that they're comfortable with, they may have used before. This particular customer wanted a Butler seat, another great local vendor. Simpson seat belts, MPI steering wheel. You need to feel as secure in here as absolutely possible, and it matters in your mind, and it matters on the stopwatch. A guy needs to feel assured and comfortable. Just that it's something else not to think about. There's enough variables on the car that makes the driver wonder, so this type of area we really like the customer to pick out what they like. All our cars use the our lightweight, high strength window net. Switch panels here. We took our switch panels down here on the left hand side out of the way. We use a 7-switch assembly. Has your brake blowers, engine fan, helmet fan, everything kind of self-contained here. It has cam locks, you can pop it off quick if need be. There's circuit breakers on the back of the switches right there that you don't have to try to trace the wiring. Right on the other side of the door bar here, there's a main disconnect plug for this. So if anything would ever happen, you need to change this, you don't have to try to splice any part of the wiring system at all. Every bit of our wiring is separate and unplugs, from the ignition to the fans, everything. It has junctions where they come together, but nothing would you have to change that would affect something else. Something we worked pretty hard on. Gauges. This particular car is long acre, again a customer preference. The digital type gauge is by far the most popular of everything choice wise anymore. Window braces. Some of the bigger tracks we run, these windows will really buffer, so we try to put these support tubes in front and back just to help that out some. Seals like grommets, we use those in quite a few places on the car. Run wiring through, run our switch panel through, battery cables, anything like that, just to keep it off of the sheet metal, insulated and no sharp edges. With the hood open here, you can see the chassis configuration on a little bit better. We use ground DOM tubing from Race City Steel on all our cars, unless there's a customer specified difference on there, but that's what we typically use. Motor wise, this was the customer's engine supplied, a Jeff Hamner engine, which a lot of our customers use as well. Great service. This has a CNR heat exchanger type unit with a built-in fan. Allows you to run a lot of tape on the grill. Very high quality core on these radiators. You can see how we run our brake fan system here a little bit better from the top. Again, the Pro System fans coming into the ductwork itself, and then the regular hose just running to the nose. This lets you see the Brown & Miller plumbing a little bit better. With the Ford coming to this side, it makes it a little trickier the way it has to come across the cross member and all, but to get to the oil pump. With the 5-star bodies, we use the 5-star air box as well. Whole package fits well. Cam lock in the cowl support, so taking that off and popping the cam locks, you can take that whole unit off very easily. As our cars had before, the wedge bolts here makes the life a lot simpler for adjusting both sides. We do that on. This particular silver powder coating looks fantastic. Diversified Finishers does all our chassis, another great local vendor. And this color combo really worked out great with our suspension components and the black body. It really set everything off. On our suspension packages, the clip is outfitted that you can use the one-piece bump stick style lowers, which a lot of our touring series drivers like to use, or the traditional two-piece where your lower control arm is here and then your aluminum strut rod bolts to it. If you can see on this side, there's another shock pod which attaches our bump stick. If you like this, all we have to do is weld a shock mount on the very top shock hoop there. That's all it will take. That's the only fabrication needed. Even if you have an existing car, we send you that mount and tell you where to put it. You can easily install bump sticks on your car. Shock wise, a lot of our customers use the Öhlins TTX shocks. We work very closely with RE Suspension. They build them just the way we like. These are 2, 3, 4-way adjustable. Again, if you're traveling around, it gives you the adjustability to change without having to have so many extra shocks or take them apart. Usually we built them in a range, and then any of your adjustments can fall into that category and it will hit the majority of the places that you would be racing in your series. Sway bar wise, we use the DEI sway bars very often. Just a very lightweight piece. With the right foot adjuster, it works out very simple to be able to adjust. Variety of sizes, 1 3/4 or 2-inch ends, or we can use your traditional Schroeder type bar. Either way, we have a variety of bushings that fit our sway bar tubes. Whatever package you may need for that. On exhaust, this is a very good way to see it. We use Fabrication, a local company, very high quality, stainless steel, crossover tri-Y headers. The whole kit comes from them. We use the X pipe very often on the super late models, like what this car is, or a Y pipe on the pro cars, the crate engine cars. So it changes the X from coming down off the collectors to turning sideways. It comes with these bends here, and then if your track or series requires it, they offer these mufflers that they can put right in line. They'll come welded up for you already, where they stagger them so that they'll lay together. If you don't have to run a muffler, this will just be a continuous straight pipe out the door here then. And we just use this mount here off of the chassis to kind of give it support. Since it's up in the air, we just don't want it shaking around. So a very clean package. This customer, a lot of these pieces we go over the customers with on a build, either to match another car that they have or take our recommendations, things like that. He wanted, and a lot of our guys use, the Earnhardt transmission. Has a top mount shifter, very lightweight, durable piece, as high quality as you could get. Uses a Jericho casing like most of them do. All billet machine top. It's cut off for ground clearance. Couldn't really ask for much better from that. You can kind of see up here, you got plenty of room coming over the top of the transmission with the exhaust. Don't have any spacing issues like that. I'll show you the plumbing a little bit more later. You can see the braided lines running. This car was all done by Brown & Miller, another local company that come right to our facility. We have the motor and transmission, everything in place. They'll measure it all out, make the lines while they're here, pressure test them. Couldn't ask for a simpler piece than that. All we have to do is make sure that they're tight when we fire them off, and good to go. Really no extra work on our end. On the steering racks, we use Sweet Manufacturing on all our cars. We prefer to run the servo separate, which is go around the other side here. The steering servo here, we try to do it separate. If you're going to run like a Winchester or a Bristol, you're going to want one ratio. On a smaller track, you can change that. If you integrate this and run it on the rack, you don't really have that opportunity to do so. The other thing is, on a Chevy, typically where the dry sump pump is here, it won't clear, so you have to run the servo separate. So some of our guys will take a same car and put a Pro or a super motor in it, so we try to do that way it'll outfit no matter what they're doing. This particular car being a Ford, it's swapped around to the other side. And over here you can also see how the ProFab system fits our chassis so well. Clears the foot box good. On the foot box, on the very corner of it, this car is a black one, but you can see the cam locks. So that corner of the foot box will come off and you can work on your pedals. Very easy to adjust, get your brake bias right. We use Wilwood pedals in all our cars. This particular car has Wilwood Masters on it as well. And brake calipers. Again, this was to match a customer's other car. This is a winner's hub, but with the Wilwood calipers front and back. We run dual brake hoses on mostly all of our cars. Brake fans from Pro Systems, another local company. Very lightweight, a lot of CFMs. We run one hose out of the nose. The one with the fan, we run out of the radiator duct. And we always sucking fresh air out of there. That's how we typically do it. If you're running 25 lap Saturday night races, you don't need this type of a setup. You can do a single hose. We have spindle ducts on our spindles. Some guys with short races will just take the hoses and just kind of time them in place off the upper control arms. But we have TIG welded gussets and spindle mounts that we make. Again, you can see the bump stick one piece lower. We use our drop tie rod here. Gives a lot of extra clearance when the car travels so that it doesn't hit the chassis. We put that on everything. You can see the slug rings here on the cross member, how they bolt in so you can use the full range here. Again, a flat place you may want your geometry at one place, a banked you may need to raise it. So it's very simple. Wear sticks. Always pay attention to this as you make runs to keep your wear indicators very even. On our cross member, you can see the bolts are up inside. A lot of guys will drag the rack, like Sweep is good enough to make this end here very flat. But if you drag the rack bolts, it'll stop your travel. So we have ours recessed inside. And then when we set a car up, like this car was just done, it's going to test tomorrow, Shane will shoot a laser, and if we continuously have one plane from the sway bar tube through the cross member to the pedal plate, that nothing is really hanging down more than the other. It's all on, so when the car travels, it's one continuous platform for it to sit on. The logo here, this is actually a lead rail. So all of our lead is contained in a lead rail like this along the left side. And then we have two in the center of the car, which we can see better from the back, but you can see the circles in the front, and actually the lead part of it. So if you need to get it out, you can just take a piece of pipe and push on the lead there, and it'll come out the back. When we get to the back of the car, you'll see these Port City plates back there as well. We always do this here for foot protection. The chassis part will show more for the top tie-down hooks. Body bracing, that'll try to show you at various spots of the car. We brace these bodies as strong as I can. Air is your friend. The firmer that these bodies are, the more aero effective they're going to be. If it's just flopping around, you're losing any advantages that you're trying to do. We use a small compact battery here. You can see it's got a handle built onto it and a little cable. If you pull in this cable, there's a plunger system here, and you can slide this out. The battery has a quick disconnect piece on the top. You can change a battery in a minute. It's about as simple as and fastest way of anything that we have seen. 300-400 lap races, a lot of guys have battery problems. You can pull a left rear tire off and really change that around quickly. We use Peterson dry sump tanks. Mounts directly behind the driver here. It gives us a good way to tuck the filters out of the way and then run the main lines down the drive shaft tunnel to the front. Very clean, simple way to do it. Here you can see the back of the lead rails for your center weights. Both of these, depending on the driver size, naturally is full, and then we can put some under the drive shaft and to the right as well. This tray here will allow us to bolt lead anywhere that we need to be. We have guys from 80 pounds to 280 pounds, so we need to have a lot of variety. On the suspension, we have this car set up to run the standard trailing arm on the left. We use this Earnhardt Technology bracket with bungs here in the frame. Then up here you can see a red square bracket. If we put the center pull J-hook on it, that's what that is for. The other side has a J-hook on it. We can see what it looks like attached then. On the upper part of the chassis, you see there's multiple mounts. If we run center pull, the shock will go here. When we run traditional, this shock gets mounted behind the rear end to a bolt-in set of mounts here. So that's already on the chassis. Again, no fabrication work for you. Panhard bar mount. This is the same type of square adjuster as what you see there for the trailing arm. We run this on the left side and chassis side. There's adjuster rods that come up through the sheet metal. If you're going to do a pit stop, you can adjust this up and down very quickly. In your shop, make a turn, take the measurement, and then you always know, so you know what to tell your crew guys how many turns to make. We support this off of the rear end. These little support struts here. This is a Tiger rear end, which we use in a lot of our cars. Variety of differentials. Most places are running a spool anymore. This one has not a spool, a different differential in it. It has bolt-on cambered snouts. The brake bracket matches the degree of your snouts, and then you can change that again as different applications need be. Very, very good tuning tool. If you come off the track and you bump the wall a little bit, a lot of times you'll bend the snout. Well, if you have a one-piece tube, it's bent. If you do this, you can unbolt the end, put another one on, and continue your racing for the day. It's a godsend at some places for sure. This has a cooler system with a differential in it, so it's plumbed to run right to this little cooler here just to keep the fluid continuously moving. Our Panhard bars have adjusters on them that you don't have to take it off like the old ones with Mailheims and turn them in and out. You can just loosen the jam nuts and crank on that adjuster. If you again smack the wall and your rear end got moved, you have a way to get it back. Our ultra low third link assembly has a very large adjuster in the front of it, so it's hard to see here, but this gold nut is just a jam nut for the Heim, but this is actually an adjuster. So this, if you loosen this nut here, that'll run in and out. If you have a different car or older car, you may have to adjust that because your center to center lengths won't be the same. We use this, all our new cars have this bolt-in bracket here, so whether you're running uphill, level, downhill, there's so much adjustment in our third link mounts. It'll cover for any range that you're trying to do. Quartermaster drive shaft, complete quartermaster clutch and bell housing assembly. Very quality product, hugely popular with our customers. Here you can see the pump off the Tiger has this pump right off of the pinion. It's as small and clean of a unit as you can get. Makes plumbing very easy and stuff as well, but it's actually from an automatic transmission, and that's where it generates from, just to keep your fluid continuously moving on your differential. Here you can see our center pull J-hook. So this mount here, this bolts on. If you're going to use that, this has already become adjusted. We always try to mark them where we're at to start with. The brackets on the rear end are just clamp on, so if you're going to run a standard trailing arm, you don't have to carry the weight. These bushings here will take a bolt-on Earnhardt bracket like on the left-hand side, so if you do want to run the standard trailing arm, it's all there for you. Again, on the shock mounts, there's one in front of the rear end like this car. We have a mount on top of the rear end to run a modified bump stick. Some rules allow that, some don't. Very simple, clean way to do it. And then back here is your standard shock mount if you would run a regular trailing arm and have to put it on the back. Put a lot of thought into that, of how to get it all worked out and mocked everything up well, and you can change your suspension setups around in just a matter of minutes. Fuel cells, we use ATL in all our cars. We have 22-gallon or 17-gallon racks in stock. We made 15-gallon ones for some people. If you have a different size or a different brand, we have to make sure that that's correct before we get powder coated. If you look inside like the back bumper cover, a big area a lot of people do not brace is up at the spoiler. So we run braces off of the top of the fuel cell or back of the chassis there. And then your spoiler braces actually bolt through this. So even though they're adjustable outside, they're just plastic bumper covers, so they move a lot. So this here really keeps it rigid and keeps all that air on your spoiler like you need to have. We use the aluminum bumpers on all the cars that we can, just to try to save the weight. It's quite a bit lighter than the steel package is, and for most guys, like every ounce counts. Rear bumper, the aluminum right side door bar as well, with an adjuster in it here that you can keep your side straight. Some series will put a straight edge down the side, or if you brush it a little bit, at least you have a crush zone, and it's all slotted, so you can move it in and out. Same thing like with our exhaust flanges. We have enough room around the pipes. If the door would get pushed in, there's a gap here, and you can just pull it back out without. If you run the exhaust pipes to the end, if you brush your wall, you're hurting the end of your exhaust. So just things like that we try to think about ahead of time. In our rear ends with the camber, we run strange oval axles. They have a very good variety of tuner axles. Whether you have a spool or a locker or a super or a pro car, there's a package that'll work for you. And with the camber drive flanges there as well, allows for all the misalignment that you would possibly need. On the cambered snouts, on a wide 5, you can go up to 1.5 degrees, and the 5x5 I think is 2 degrees, so it gives you a little bit more because of the length of the snout being shorter. You can get a little bit more angle, but anywhere you go, that's as much range as you would possibly need on either side. So again, a big variety of applications to fit whatever you may need it for. This car being a turnkey is definitely not the only way that we do them. Anywhere from a bare chassis that you would put together yourself to this car we're taking to the racetrack for the customer. Anything in between that you need, we can do. Just to give you an idea, this is 300 plus man hours to build a car like this. So it's definitely not something that's turned around overnight by any means. Chassis we try to get done as quickly as we can. There's so much other work involved. With all the pieces on this, you got to make sure all the vendor components and things are lined up. So it's quite a lengthy process. Even setup wise, our guys are so busy doing that all the time. We got to make sure that it just all flows together, that it's ready to go. We enjoy going to the track with the customers. We can see firsthand what they're getting to experience, and see how the quality of our work is, and hear what they have to say. Any questions you have on this at all, please give us a call. We'd love to work with you, and thanks for taking a look.